There are moments in life when the veil thins, when what has been hidden within you begins to stir, and what you've tried to suppress can no longer remain in the shadows. Something is about to surface, and we can't ignore it. On May 1st, the full moon in Scorpio reaches its peak, and this isn't just any full moon. This is the kind of energy that exposes the truth, that breaks down illusions, and that forces us to confront everything we've been avoiding. If something has been buried deep within us, we can expect that it's going to come up now. There's really no escaping it with this Scorpio energy. So this full moon happens at 11 degrees, 20 minutes in the sign of Scorpio. And it's illuminating the deepest layers of our psyche. This is the realm where intimacy, power struggles, sexual energy, vulnerability, and money and shared resources, and all the unconscious fears we hold about these things reside. So something within us has been growing in the dark, quietly, patiently, and now it's ready to be seen. We are ready to investigate the source of our pain. And this requires that we go where we've never gone before, that we face our own darkness. This is how we meet the parts of ourselves that have been hidden, that have been unconscious, that have been locked away in the shadows. Scorpio cannot stand anything that is superficial. It has to go deep. So this means that this is not surface level self-reflection we're going to be doing during this full moon. This is really the deepest kind of inner work, the kind that requires us to face ourselves honestly, to put on our detective's hat, and start to probe our own depths as if we're trying to solve a case. So in a way, we can really think of it like we're trying to solve the case of our own life by understanding at a much deeper level where our behaviors stem from. So we're purging at all that's been festering in the deep, in our unconscious mind, and exposing the truth of what's been hidden inside of us by bringing our own darkness into the light. When we do this, we crack our own case wide open. We free ourselves from the unconscious burdens that keep us stuck and unable to move forward in the ways we want. So full moons are always a time of culmination and release. But in Scorpio, this release can feel so much more intense, more emotional, and even more uncomfortable because we have to face the things we don't normally want to see. We have to face what we've repressed. And we do this because we all have an unconscious defense mechanism to protect ourselves from traumatic memories or thoughts that we think are unacceptable. And so we repress this information. But during the full moon, the repressed stuff is going to rise to the surface of our awareness because Scorpio is all about the shadow. It is the keeper of the underworld. It's the part of us that holds our wounds, our secrets, and our desires that we don't always understand. And under this full moon, the gate to the underworld opens. And it's not doing this to harm us, but to initiate us, to transform us. This is an awakening of truth, a moment where illusions and defense mechanisms we've adopted over time really start to dissolve, and we come face to face with what has been quietly shaping our life from beneath the surface. So this full moon in Scorpio may bring up old trauma. It might bring up deeply held fears, secrets, specifically sexual secrets, or power struggles and manipulation, obsessions, deep emotional wounds, especially in the areas of intimacy, sexual energy, money, finances, and anything that specifically isn't ours, or anything tied to feeling like our survival is being threatened because we rely on others for our survival, particularly our emotional, financial, or physical survival. So when our security is tied up in relying on others, this might be activated right now. And I'll be honest, it might feel quite confronting. But the truth is that what's coming up is not here to destroy us. It's here to free us. So full moons always occur when the sun and moon are in opposition from one another. So this Scorpio full moon sits opposite the sun in Taurus, which is kind of giving it a grounding energy. So we're grounding this Scorpio energy through the Scorpio-Taurus polarity. So let's understand this. Taurus wants stability. It wants comfort, security. It wants to feel worthy and valuable, and it does this through its need for self-reliance. It finds security by relying on itself. Scorpio wants transformation, depth, and truth. It feels compelled to merge with others and use the resources outside of itself to become something more than what it is on its own. So in a way, Taurus is about reliance on the self, and Scorpio is about reliance on something other than the self. So this, really can create tension in ownership. What do I own? What's mine and what's not? Or feeling valuable and worthy on our own versus needing validation from others to make us feel worthy. Self-reliance for our own survival versus needing to rely on others to survive. Merging with another, specifically through intimacy and sex, and feeling like we don't want to lose our power to another. And also there's this feeling that can come up about feeling like we need to dominate and control others. Because Taurus asks us, what keeps you safe? While Scorpio asks us, what keeps you trapped? So there's this sacred tension that's being revealed where we cannot start to understand where our comfort has become stagnation and where security has really come at the cost of our freedom. So this will be the time to ask yourself, where have you become too comfortable? What are you holding on to that's expired? Where is fear preventing you from being honest with yourself and honest with others? And also, where do you feel most vulnerable in your life and why? And what can you do to change that? So this full moon will show us. And now our soul is asking us to finally release what this is. So it's also important to consider that Venus, which is the ruler of Taurus, is in Gemini. And Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is in Aquarius. And they are forming a trine. And Pluto is also forming a square to the sun and the moon during the full moon. So we can expect with Venus and Pluto here that our relationships are going to be really important right now. They're becoming mirrors during this time. And they'll be reflecting back to us not just love, but fear. Scorpio longs for deep soul merging, but it also fears losing itself in the process. And this fear of engulfment and fear of the loss of itself can manifest in really unhealthy relationship patterns. Scorpio energy can trigger deep fears around anything having to do with feeling vulnerable or feeling like someone is going to betray us, or we're going to lose control or lose ourselves in someone or something. There's really this fear of loss of oneself. And this is particularly strong in areas of deep intimacy, sex, and emotional attachments. So what happens when we have these fears coming up? We really can, start to test people, to play games. instead of trusting them. You know, we can try to control things, control others, and control outcomes. We can become emotionally guarded, avoidant, or distant. Or we can swing the other way into being overly anxiously preoccupied, almost obsessed and jealous in our relationships. So this is where our attachment wounds really come alive in this Scorpio energy. And boundaries between ourselves and another can become so blurred, they become it becomes destructive. So you might notice that you are having these strange urges, like pushing people away, but also craving closeness, or feeling suspicious or hyper aware, like you're scared someone is about to hurt you or betray you, wanting deep intimacy, but also fearing what it requires. And this full moon is asking us to look at all of this honestly, because these maladaptive attachment styles are formed in our childhood in moments where vulnerability felt unsafe. But now we have the opportunity to see them for what they are, to transform them, to release them, so something more honest can begin. So Scorpio, like I mentioned, is the detective. It wants to investigate, and it doesn't look away from darkness. It has to go into the darkness to understand what's going on, what's hidden. So during this time, you might find yourself really overthinking, overanalyzing, digging deep into your own emotions and situations that maybe in the past you were too afraid to look at. And yes, this can feel heavy and it can feel emotional, but this is required for shadow integration. It's really shadow work at its finest, and it's what we are able to do in Scorpio energy. So you're not meant to stay in the dark. You're meant to see it, to understand it, so you can transform it, so you can heal it. And this is really an initiation process, an initiation into deep intimacy, not just with others, but with ourselves. It will ask us to sit with our truth without running, to witness our fears without letting them control us, and allow ourselves to be fully, honestly vulnerable. And it's important to remember that true intimacy does not require us to lose ourselves. It requires us to meet ourselves. So we need to be intimate with ourselves and others. And the trine I mentioned before between Venus and Pluto, these planets will be working together, opening the doorway to more honest conversations and emotional truths that we can reach with our close, intimate partners and those we're closest to. But Pluto at the same time is applying pressure through its square to the sun and moon, which means something in our life honestly might be reaching a breaking point. And this is not happening to punish us. It's happening because things can't continue the way they have been. So this could be related to our relationships, even our relationships with money, with relying on everything outside of ourselves. It can be related to partnerships, really anything we rely on for our survival. This is going to be a moment of realization, a moment where something just suddenly clicks, and you suddenly see the unhealthy pattern of your own behavior or the behavior of someone else. You see a truth about a relationship, or you finally can see a fear that's been controlling you related to finances, relationships, sex, all these things that we don't like to look at on a daily basis. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So there's also this strong Aries energy pushing us forward. We have Saturn, Neptune, Mars, Mercury, and Chiron all in the sign of Aries. So we have this beautiful new beginning upon us. But this new beginning is requiring us to have courage, to show up and to face ourselves honestly. We're being asked to not give our power away anymore. We're being asked to speak our truth, to face what hurts, and really to transform ourselves at the core. And that's where Scorpio wants to go deep into the core. So this Scorpio full moon is intense, yes, but it's also so transformative. It's one of the most transformative full moons we've had in a very long time because Scorpio represents the cycle of death and rebirth. So part of us is dying, so a new version can be reborn. And what comes up now is truly ready to be seen and released. And what we let go of, what we allow to end creates space for something more honest, more aligned, and more powerful to take its place. So don't run from what you feel, because on the other side of this is a version of you that's no longer afraid of the truth. All right, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to be back soon with another video. And in the meantime, I do offer personal evolutionary astrology readings. So if you're interested, check out my website. I have it linked in the description below. I wish you all a wonderful and transformative week ahead, and I'll see you soon. Take care.